Hello and welcome to the Sunday Club. I know that you all have been eagerly looking forward to this panel, and I'm delighted to be joined by Suhel Seth back from his travels. And of course, Pallavi Ghosh is joining us today as well. And we just felt that, this is such an important discussion that we need another, two Pallavi Ghoshes to discuss the Congress. Really, I mean, it's that kind of an issue. And because Pallavi is not here and she usually joins 15, 20 minutes after the show starts, I'm so glad that Pallavi is here to start us off on this show. Thank you so much, Pallavi, for joining us.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm driving in Punjab covering the elections. So, my driver's really bad and the road is also really bad.
But there are no elections.
There are no elections in Punjab, by the way.
There are very soon going to be elections. Scoop. News 18 scoop. Breaking news.
Don't name a channel for heaven's sake. Poor thing. Give us some space. And of course, Suhel is here as well. Suhel, you've been putting out all these very cryptic tweets and saying things like who will be left in the Congress to quit going forward, etc., etc. You feel like there's going to be a mass exodus. You seem to be prophesizing that. Is that what you think is coming up, a mass exodus?
I don't know if it's mass exodus or not, but the fact is that it's leading to only one conclusion, that there is going to be an implosion. And that implosion will see a lot more dead bodies getting in there. Number two. Mm-hmm. Number three, there is complete mayhem. And now the knives are out openly. People are openly from within the Congress discussing Rahul Gandhi or his lack of intellect or his lack of leadership. Earlier, it used to be couched in, goodness and politeness. All that has changed. So I think these are tough times for the Congress. Also, what has happened is that we as a nation are feeling and are going to feel greater pressure. You cannot have a country where there is no opposition. You cannot have a country where the grand old party is doddering without any semblance of either leadership or direction. And that, to my mind, is a big issue.
And this whole thing of Congress Mukt Bharat, which specifically means Gandhi Mukt Bharat, and that was the context in which it was repeated regularly. It seems to be happening. Hi, Pallavi. Thanks for joining us.
It's happening
welcome. Thank you. It was so nice joining your program, Advaita. I mean, I'm on the road covering elections, but still, thank you.
No, I mean, this is a Congress topic, so we needed two Pallavis this evening.
It's also happening. It's also happening because for far too long, political parties. See, Narendra Modi said an interesting thing about Parivarvad. What has happened is almost all political parties are in the throes of dynastic control. Whether it's Stalin, whether it's Mamta Abhishek, whether it is whoever it is. I mean, look around. So in a situation such as this, when the BJP says that we will offer you a political alternative and not a dynastic alternative, it kind of resonates. Right. Plus, the young of today have no reason to either recall, remember, or even rejoice in whatever the Indira Gandhis, the Nehrus, the Rajiv Gandhis did. So they're completely disconnected from that part of history. Finally, the hard work that is being put in by the BJP's top brass, and their cadres, obviously aided and abetted wholly by the RSS, shows them to be a much more serious political party. Finally, they are also a party that works towards winning elections. And ultimately, Advaita, you can say what you want. Parties stay united when they win. Parties tend to disintegrate when they lose, because the people who lose have two costs to incur: the cost of loss and the loss of money. And that, to my mind, is a serious issue.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Abhijit, I want to ask you, Ghulam Nabi Azad has been very pointed in his criticism of Rahul Gandhi. He's called him non-serious. He's basically alluded to the fact that he's worked with every Gandhi from Sanjay Gandhi, Indira, Rajiv, Sonia. And it's really with Rahul Gandhi that he's met his Waterloo, or rather believes this is the the end game really for the Congress. He said it in as many words. What do you think is this going to do to brand Rahul Gandhi? That someone as senior as Azad, so much in the mix, an organization man, what is this going to do to him?
Okay. So, look, there is no brand Rahul Gandhi, unfortunately, whether we like it or not. It's seen as essentially Chinese manufactured products. This isn't a German car. It's like literally, it's like taking, I don't know, Geely and trying to sell it in the Frankfurt Auto Fair and putting it alongside a Ferrari. That is the brand image of Rahul Gandhi at the moment. So, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, I mean, it's big news for us because these are a lot of these are people we all know. But for the ordinary man, it's just a validation of what they've known for a very long time. What is going on being spoken for the last 10 years at least, if not longer. I don't think there's any change in perception out here. But you look at the reaction, what really surprised me was the reaction of people like, I would say that at least people like Jairam Ramesh kind of have a certain, what shall I say, a certain status to comment on this. But you look at roadside thullas like that fellow Gaurav Bandi commenting on it, on a person much senior to him.
What did he say? I didn't
that he's a gulam and this and that and whatever. आज हमने गुलामी को आज आजाद को हमने गुलामी I don't remember.
आज गुलाम को कांग्रेस से आजाद कर दिया है.
हाँ. It only reinforces the point he made in that letter about his effigy being taken out and burnt or degraded in public by members of the Kashmir Congress, who then got felicitated by Rahul Gandhi. That, these so-called Young Turks are doing just that today. So, it's this system where you seem, the parallels for me are, like Mao Zedong's young volunteers, the red guys, who used to go around, humiliating and beating up and whatever to senior party leaders that Mao Zedong had designated for elimination. The third is a very important point that Suhel made about this generational gap that Rahul wants to bridge. Fine. But Suhel made this important point that this generation has forgotten what this freedom struggle, British, nobody cares about the British anymore. People like Shashi Tharoor try to revive it with his book on the British, on the nightmare of British rule in India. The point is nobody gives a damn anymore. It's moved on. Today Maurya comes and says, see, it was my ancestor 2,500 years back who kicked out Alexander and created a great empire. Congratulations to you. What do you want me to do about it? It's the same attitude now, but he comes from a place where he thinks this should matter. There is no introspection. He is willing to blame anyone and everyone except himself. And he wants power without responsibility. And that therein lies the problem.
Yeah, you've been at the headquarters, all of that. How are they taking Ghulam Nabi Azad's exit? I know on social media there's a certain narrative going on, but in one-on-one conversations, what's the sense? What are they feeling? Pallavi, yes, Pallavi Ghosh, the original.
Yeah. So, no, I did go to AICC headquarters today, and I did meet a couple of leaders over there. See, many of them actually agree with a lot of what has been said by Ghulam Nabi Azad about the fact that there's a Darbari culture, that there's a coterie of Rahul Gandhi, and so on and so forth. So, there's a difference. There are those who are close to Rahul Gandhi, who want to survive within the Gandhi family and within the Congress party. They are the ones who are actually rubbishing Ghulam Nabi Azad. But there are actually quite a few people who say that, maybe we cannot be as bold as him to leave the Congress party, Jeena yahan, marna yahan, and all that kind of stuff. But they say that, the fact that many of the points which have been raised by him in the letter is absolutely correct. And you just have to take a round of the Congress headquarters today, a day after that bombshell by Azad. Listless, dispirited, party workers just hanging around, wondering what is going to be happening. And the interesting part really, Advaita, is that today there was this rounds of meeting at Azad's residence where Jammu and Kashmir leaders were coming and going. They've decided that Azad is going to address a kind of a rally on 4th. Now that's the same day where Rahul Gandhi is going to be here at the Ramlila Maidan, where the Halla Bol rally is going to begin. And I know because I work in TV, and I'm sure my channel and most of the channels will also focus on the fact that even as Rahul Gandhi is speaking, this is what exactly is happening in Kashmir, in Srinagar, in Jammu. He's going to be in Jammu, and how he's going to, it's going to be a show of strength, flexing his muscles and so on and so forth. So it's going to be all in a 2 window. And I can already predict what's going to be the response of the Congress party. They're going to say, see, he's done it deliberately on 4th because this is exactly what the BJP wanted him to do. And comments of Gaurav Pandey, which, Abhijit is talking about. I mean, it's laughable when someone like a Pawan Khera, who incidentally was referred to as a chaprasi by Manish Tiwari today, they themselves can't win elections. RWA ka election mein bhi 5 vote nahi milenge. They are the ones who are saying what has Azad given to the organization. I mean, my point which I asked Jairam Ramesh today is that why don't you just let him go if he's really such a, he doesn't really matter for the Congress party. But the way you people are tweeting, releasing videos, and you're being asked to do so. In fact, a little birdie also told me that apparently Priyanka called up and told Ashok Gehlot, Sachin Pilot, Bhupesh Baghel, all of them to issue a statement trashing Azad. That's how it works in the party.
Suhel, it's this. I mentioned this yesterday as well. It's like a playbook, isn't it? I mean, every time someone leaves the Congress, the same sort of accusations and slander starts, and then that's the end of it. Everyone proves their loyalty by trashing people. In Azad's case, someone like him who's been in the Congress for a lifetime, really, certainly longer than I've been around. So. It's really many decades of service, and isn't there another way that they can or should handle this? Don't you think so?
So there are 3 or 4 things here. I think what Azad did was reprehensible in my mind. When you've been with a party for half a century, there are other ways of exiting. You don't make your letter public where you trash everything. You talk about coteries, which, by the way, you were part of. You talk about decisions that were made at the time in which you were in government. When Rahul Gandhi tore up the ordinance, when Manmohan Singh was about to walk into the Oval Office, I didn't see Ghulam Nabi Azad object. I didn't see Ghulam Nabi Azad object to anything. And now let me tell you, if Ghulam Nabi Azad had been given his Rajya Sabha extension, none of this would have happened. See, these people are not working for any party. It is true of the Gandhis, it is true of all these other jokers also. They are all self-serving people right now, and for them, the ultimate thing is survival. Okay, then to use words like security guards and chaprasis, they make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it by hard work. What have you people done? What has Ghulam Nabi Azad contributed in a manner of speaking? And why should he write a letter in that tonality? And why do these jokers always resign when the Gandhis are out of the country? Is their quill so quiverable that it can't even pen a resignation letter when these chaps are in the country? So I hold no sympathy or empathy for Azad. He has been opportunistic, self-serving as far as I can tell. Number 2, let me tell you, Azad, if he floats a political party, his political party will get no traction. It will either become the B team of the BJP or whatever, because these guys aren't respected in the valley. For years, they've lived off the state. Homes in Gupkar Road, the chicken and the mutton being bought at government expense. These people have bled the system, much like the Gandhis have, in a manner of speaking. Hammam mein sab nange hote hain. In a Turkish bath, there are very few people who go fully clothed and come out fully clothed. So let's not give Azad this thing as if he's the the epitome of honesty and the revolutionary who's blown this bugle of revolt. Nothing. He's nothing but a coward, a wimp, and an opportunistic human being. Nothing more, nothing less. The more you praise Azad, you're actually strengthening the hands of the Gandhis. Now let's come to the Congress. Let me tell you, the Congress suffers from the same loyalty syndrome as we have discussed in literature. You're more loyal than the king himself. These people have to prove loyalty. Okay, in order to prove loyalty, they're willing to trash each other, not realizing the message they're sending to the cadres right through the rank and file, if there is any rank and file. Do we not know that Ashok Gehlot will play exactly to a script that has been given to him by Priyanka or Rahul? He will. Do you expect them to say something different? No. You tell me, all these G23 people, when they wrote that famous letter and convened those meetings at Kapil's house, why did they not resign then? All of them had Rajya Sabha seats, or most of them. They didn't want to give up on the power that comes with that seat. Today, when nothing is there, you desert. So for me, they're like rats off a sinking ship. Now let's come to the Gandhis very quickly. The Gandhis are not in the mood for any kind of discussion or any kind of introspection. That's not how family enterprises are run. Family enterprises are run by only one way, a diktat. They have now issued a diktat to everyone saying, please abuse Azad. Everyone is doing that. If Gandhis were in a mood of introspection, Sonia Gandhi would have never let things slide. But the love that a mother has for a child is far greater, as we are seeing now, than the mother has either for a political party or for the country. And we're seeing this. Rahul Gandhi, if he was in the corporate world, would have been sacked about 20 times and never hired again. But here you can't do anything. Then there are people who say, oh, the Gandhis are the glue. Trust me, Fevicol is cheaper and works harder and has demonstrable track record. These people are destroying the party. Everyone, it's like mass harakiri. The Pied Piper is Rahul Gandhi, who's leading all the rats off the cliff. And like the Pied Piper, he stays on that cliff. He doesn't fall, but all the rats go. So, my point is, don't be befuddled by this whole thing. There's written a letter. He's a great guy. See all the problems. He's nothing but a hypocrite, nothing but a self-serving, opportunistic little fish. Because if he was decent and ethical, he should have resigned when the problems happened. The problem didn't happen 3 months ago. The problem has been, by his own admission, happening since 2013. But his Rajya Sabha term came to an end 4 months ago. Therein lies a tale. Advaita, I'll end by this. As you know, I'm a great Shakespeare lover. When Mark Antony asks Brutus in Julius Caesar, why did you stab Caesar? Brutus says, it's not that I loved Caesar less, but I loved Rome more. We are seeing a different version of Shakespeare here. It's not that they love India less, they love the Gandhis more. And if it were the Gandhis love India less, they love their HUF more. Therein lies the irony and therein lies the complexity.
Abhijit, Javi Shergill has also quit. Of course, he's a much younger leader, has been in the Congress, I guess, for about a decade, maybe a little less than that. One of the more articulate voices on TV for the party, said some very damning things himself. Now, it's for us sitting on the outside, we may be looking at them and saying, oh, this seems opportunistic and they've taken off, because they're not getting anything or think there's better opportunities elsewhere. But could it also be a case of, giving the party time as well? In Javi Shergill's case, he says that I have waited for a year, for example, to get an appointment with the Gandhis, and that's not happened. So it's not easy to leave a party that you've been part of in Azad's case for 5 decades nearly. And in Javi Shergill's case, where you've kind of given your last 10 years to this party and you've been in the trenches, but now feel like there's no place for you.
So, see, I'm going to differ with Suhel slightly on this, and I'll tell you why. When you really care about someone or something, for example, when your golden retriever that was also sweet and nice contracts some disease and decides to suddenly start biting your guests. You don't put it down. You're like, bacha mat karo, nahi, wrong, bad boy, no treats for you, no kibbles for you, etc., etc. And you tend to continue with it up to the point where nobody else sees the value in it except you, because you have a memory of things past. So Suhel's interpretation is completely right. There is a certain opportunism. But there's also a great deal of affection. I can tell you how bitter Jaiveer, for example, is. It should have never come to this. And the problem there has always been he's waited for more than a year. There have been group interactions, but a group interaction is not the same as an individual interaction. And for an individual interaction, you have to genuflect and kowtow to this bunch of losers that Rahul has surrounded him with. Now, when it comes to being self-serving, well, you tell me, which politician do you know who is not self-serving? I mean, honestly, you think Modi would be doing all of this if he couldn't be prime minister? Would Amit Shah be doing any of the things he's doing if he couldn't be, or at least have a shot at the prime ministership? Politics is a profession for those with a slight narcissism to them, or a significant narcissism to them. You cannot be in politics without being a narcissist and being self-serving to some level. There is a reason that to go back to the motherland, Britain, because I'm from Britain, just like Suhel.
I thought just like Pallavi.
To quote our beloved national anthem, God Save the Queen, there is the line which is not sung anymore. Confound their politics, frustrate their knavish tricks, on thee our hopes we fix, God save the Queen. Okay? Confound their politics, frustrate their knavish tricks. Politicians are known to have tricks and be knaves, essentially. So why are we surprised when they are behaving exactly the way they're meant to behave? What you're looking at in the Congress is, it's not going to get better. This is not an inflection point. Let's be very clear about it. Because you look at things like, say, North Korea, or the last days of Hitler, or the last days of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. I think study after study after study after study has shown that when your ideology is under attack and it is crumbling, you do not give in. In fact, you double down and become even more vicious and cling even more. Look at the communists. They've been wiped out. In 2008, they got their highest, not 2008, sorry. When was it 2008? 2004. They got the highest number of seats that they've ever had in parliament. Today, they're lucky if they have 4 or 5 seats in parliament. Do you see any toning down of the ideology, of the vitriol, in spite of the fact that it's a proven loser? And there are newspaper reports, maybe Pallavi can confirm it, that Rahul sees Sitaram Yechuri as his father, mother, mentor, everything. So it's one loser depending on another loser. The same pattern as the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, replicated by the Communist Party of India, replicated by the new Communist Party of India, also known as the Indian National Congress right now. So it's really sad. I mean, you go back and look at Albania and Anwar Hoxha, who was the dictator of Albania for a long time. It's actually got a lot of parallels with what you see with Rahul Gandhi and his last dying days. There will not be
dying days. AIM, do you feel it's for dying days?
Pallavi can confirm this to you. Everywhere where they lose, the organization is just crumbling. People are just leaving. They're not showing up anymore. Nobody is coming to the office anymore. And even the people who are coming to office, and this was something that Pallavi said, I think a month, 2 months back when the Rajya Sabha nominations went out. In the one state where you do have a standing like Maharashtra, where you're kind of able to win some seats, you bring in somebody like Imran Pratapgarhi from a state where you have absolutely zero traction and make him a Rajya Sabha MP from here. What is the message you're sending? So there's all these problems happening out here. I do not think the Congress is going to change. The Gandhis are going nowhere.
Absolutely. Let me tell you,
Pallavi,
the Gandhis will continue to own this private limited company, limited by intellect, limited by in appeal, and limited by purpose. That is your quotable quote, Advaita Kala sitting in Dehradun. It's a private limited company, limited by intellect, limited in appeal, and limited by
Fine.
purpose. Yes, Pallavi, who's not moving for once, tell us.
Abhijit, why are you calling yourself Pallavi Ghosh?
Because I was pretending to be you for some time back.
No, you can't pretend to be me. Not with that
Why we
kind
all
of a
look
hair
up to
that
you?
you have.
We all look up to you.
Aspirational to
Look
be a
at
And
Pallavi
right now, the
Ghosh
way
is
you're sitting, we have
like a
no
Bharat
choice but to
Ratna.
look up to you.
Yeah, when I come as Pallavi Ghosh, I feel like I've got a Pulitzer Award in my hand.
Yeah, right. You need to have more hair for that.
Ask her to spell
Acha, so
Pulitzer. Tell her to spell Pulitzer right now.
Such follicle prejudice on this program.
Yeah,
yeah.
we all have great hair
Okay.
except on
So
this
I
panel.
I'll give you a anecdote, which something which happened. You all know that how Anand Sharma was miffed, right? So so he told us that the emails which go from say Rajiv Shukla's office to invite all the members of the screening committee for meetings on Himachal Pradesh. And he showed that email to us. And that email was marked to Vice President BCCI, which is Rajiv Shukla. It was marked to everyone, Sachin Pilot, Ashok Gehlot, Office of Ashok Gehlot, to all the MLAs of Congress Party in Himachal, but not marked to Anand Sharma at all. And not one, but I saw 3 such emails in which he was not marked, despite the fact that he's a chairperson of the screening committee. And that is when he decided that, okay, enough is enough. And he resigned from there, saying that, I don't even know about his committee meetings because no one marks. So when Jairam Ramesh came to know about it, he was shocked. He calls up Rajiv Shukla, and Rajiv Shukla says, "Main isme kya karu? My office sends out these emails, and whoever's name comes automatically on it are the ones who, kind of get those emails." So that's the sorry state of affairs. You're talking about people. I mean, I go to Congress office whenever I go there. There's a guy called Pranav Jha. I don't know if you people have heard of him, but he's in the media department. He's an MBA. He had a job in an MNC, and around 8 to 9 years back, he decided to quit it because he wanted to work for the Congress party. All he has been asking for is not even a ticket. He's saying कि मुझे coordinator बना दो. Let me go back to my home state. Let me go to Ranchi, where again his family lives. He spends all his money just working for the Congress party. He doesn't even expect anything else. Even when he travels, they know they'll not send him. But when it has to go with Rahul Gandhi because he wants to be seen with Rahul Gandhi, he spends his own money buying the tickets so that he can travel. That's exactly what JV would do. And I know this for a fact because when I was in Kolkata for the Bengal elections, he had this dinner in which he was there, he called 2 journalists. Jitin Prasad was there, who was in charge of Bengal at that point of time. He has this very swanky, top floor in Taj Bengal. Best of food, drinks, everything, all his own money and his own flight tickets. And this is a fact. He would hire a chartered flight. He would book his
He
own
drives a
tickets.
Mercedes Jeep. He's not poor. He drives a
No,
Mercedes.
he's not poor.
AMG.
Yeah, but Suhel, that's not the point. He's the star campaigner. I mean, I'm sure Digvijay Singh is not poor. Anand Sharma is not poor. Rahul Gandhi is not poor. Chalo, he's the Rahul Gandhi. But you're a star campaigner. The office is supposed to pay for your tickets at least. They never did that. So after some time, they say, what are we getting out of it? And I don't think there's anything wrong if they want, because I know the Congress is making a big thing about, oh my God, they're so demanding. They want this, they want that. Why not? Don't I work for my channel and hope for an increment or a promotion and all that? And it's a two-way thing. My office pays me. I do my work. My office hopefully is happy with me. And I do expect that my work will be recognized and I expect a good increment. What's wrong in that? But the Congress party makes it out to be, हमारे लिए काम करो, but don't expect anything from us. That's not done. That's where I kind of sympathize with the JV or
They are also
Azad.
limited in what they can do for people
Sounds a
as
lot
well.
like the BJP. I think this is the RSS's greatest victory, that they've turned Congress walas into karyakartas.
Absolutely. Also remember, Advaita, the psychology of the Gandhis. If you work for them, they make you feel as if they are doing you a favor. That you should be honored that you have the privilege of working with them. कि भाई नहीं तो तुम्हारी औकात ही क्या थी. और ये ना राजा और रंक की कहानी है. राजा तय करता है कि रंक से वो कब बात करे, रंक को कब बुलाए, रंक के साथ कब बैठे. रंग नहीं तय करता कि राजा कब आएगा, राजा के साथ मैं क्या खाऊंगा, कब बैठूंगा। ये जो राजा और रंग की परंपरा है ना, वो कांग्रेस में हमने 1950 से हम देखते आ रहे हैं। पंडित जी के समय में भी था। इंदिरा गांधी जी ने तो अपने कैबिनेट को किचन में डाल के रखा था, रमेश था पर सब किचन कैबिनेट थे। तो ये जो परंपरा है ये चली आ रही है कि यहाँ आप हमारी औकात के हैं नहीं। इसीलिए जो आपने पहले कहा कि अपॉइंटमेंट के बारे में, वो समझते हैं कि मैं क्यों मिलूं इनसे। अरे मेरे लिए मेरा कुत्ता बहुत ज्यादा अहमियत रखता है और रखना भी चाहिए, वी आर ऑल डॉग लवर्स। पर आपको पता होना चाहिए कि इनकी इनकी सोच क्या है, इनकी मानसिकता क्या है। और इस सोच और इस मानसिकता को आज मोदी ने नष्ट कर दिया है। क्योंकि जो आज आप मानसिकता देख रहे हैं जो हमारी भारतीय राजनीति में है, उस मानसिकता में सिर्फ दो चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट हैं। एक, कि आप इलेक्शन जीतेंगे। नंबर दो, करप्शन होगी नहीं। अब अगर करप्शन है नहीं है उसकी मैं चर्चा नहीं करना चाहता, पर ये दो मापदंड मोदी जी ने अब भारतीय राजनीति में ले आए हैं और ला के रखेंगे। My Hindi is superb.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Abhijit,
Wonderful.
I want to ask you one thing. Coming to the
I
topic of
only wish your English was as good, but anyway.
Well, says someone who can't even speak
First,
Ghosh.
first she makes fun of the fact I don't have hair. Then she makes fun of my English. This is elitist bullying of
I was talking about Suhel.
person
Yeah.
profile.
I was
It is
talking about
transphobic.
Suhel's
It
English.
is
Yeah.
xenophobic, and it is it is fat phobic. It is a strained leg phobic. It is all kinds of
Strained
phobic.
leg?
Such a horrible
No,
Nazi shoe it is. Fascism.
By the
No,
way,
but
why aren't you
Suhel-
on Twitter?
Suhel-
There are a lot of people asking.
Suhel-
Why aren't you on Twitter?
Suhel.
Abhijit?
I'm seeing
बता
Twitter,
बताओ
no.
का story बता.
You're suing Twitter.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
why
you
do you
know
want to
this?
go off Twitter?
Breaking news.
But
Breaking news.
but
अरे breaking
yeah,
नहीं
but
है.
Abhijit,
I'm refusing to delete this tweet. देखो मैं दिखाता हूँ. When I turn on my Twitter, my Twitter, which is here at the bottom, let me show you what happens.
My God.
It's a white screen.
Wait. Okay, yeah. See, they're telling me to delete this tweet where I posted Srinivasan Jain's bail to Zubair, bail fund for Zubair, and I'm refusing to do it. So, मजा आएगा. देखते रहो क्या होता है Twitter पे.
Is it factually correct?
It is, of course, his name is there.
it is. His name
So
is
then
there.
what
The guy,
is,
he
what
gave
is
a
your issue?
So
They
this is
accused
Twitter
him
saying
of
it's
putting the
Jain.
address. He didn't put any details. He had redacted
Yeah.
that post.
Yeah. So anyway, so what was the question, Advaita, that you asked before Pallavi
I
abused
want
me?
the main topic of today is, Azad is, of course, having going to have a sit down with his Jammu and Kashmir party or supporters to decide on the plan of action going forward. It's a given that he's going to start a party in Kashmir, in Jammu and Kashmir, and fight the elections. My question is there a possible new Congress emerging from these kind of exits that are taking place? Because remember, Manish Tiwari has also been very kind of, circumspect in his reaction. Prithviraj Chauhan has also been kind of circumspect. So if it's, can Azad pull some credible names to him, right? Kapil Sibal is already out. So can he put these people in and create some sort of configuration?
Look, you tell me one tall name you know from Kashmir in the Congress. The Congress is essentially reduced in Kashmir to what the Congress is in Tamil Nadu. They can play B team to ADMK or play B team to DMK, but they can't be the A team anymore. Okay, I also doubt if the BJP can be the A team. That's a different matter, but they can be a very strong B team. The problem is the Congress is now reduced to a C team out there. There's nothing much left to be done. I think where Ghulam Nabi Azad's new party will work is much the same way that overseas MIM works, which is to cut votes of Muslim voters, reduce the PDP vote, reduce the National Conference vote, and hope to get some kind of accommodation within the BJP. This is kind of what they hoped Amrinder Singh would also do. Remember, the guys who left earlier, people like YSR or like Jagan Reddy and co, they formed fairly successful parties. But Congress leaders, when they leave, so for example, you remember Mupanar and Chidambaram had left and formed the Tamil Manila Congress, which was also the TMC. What was the TMC by itself? It was nothing. It was entirely dependent on the DMK for sustenance and survival, which is why they all merged back. These leaving Congress
Mamata
stories,
Banerjee.
very few of them actually work. Kashmir is
Mamata
not a
Banerjee worked.
Mamata Banerjee worked. Yeah, that's a different generation. So, and even there, only some of them worked. So, for example, Sharad Pawar kind of worked, but kind of did not. Sharad Pawar wasn't the entire Congress. There was Sharad Pawar Congress plus the Congress in Maharashtra. Purna Sangma, did Purna Sangma, did it work when Amar Akbar Anthony left?
No.
I think, yeah, no, it did. So it's a very, very mixed bag. I think Ghulam Nabi Azad. I know nobody in the Congress in Kashmir. Pallavi, do you know anybody in the Congress in Kashmir other than Ghulam Nabi Azad? Ek do, but they're not. I mean, even
What's
Kashmiris.
with Pallavi's ability to be on a program? When she speaks, she's on mute. When she's supposed to be seen, she's invisible. I mean, if we needed Mr. India, we would have called Anil Kapoor.
Javeer
Yeah,
has a
so
G-Wagon. She has her whole
think-
caravan. He's got a Mercedes Maybach caravan that takes her around. She's actually talking from Maybach.
Hello. I think there's something like maybe gestures you could understand, but Suhel, since you want to get nasty, I also want to know what is it that Dipankar is referring to? What were you doing that day which was embarrassing
There was nothing embarrassing.
on the show?
Nothing. I'm a good Bengali. I was overseas. The program Advaita begged me to appear. I said I'm not well because I'm
I
nursing.
don't beg anybody, okay?
Anyway,
Just
I was
want to
nursing
put
a sprained leg,
this out.
and I was lying in bed because the doctor told me to keep my leg straight on the pillow. Simple. Dipankar Singh, because he's recently married, is reading too much into it. He should worry about his own posture and positions.
I agree. In fact, I can confirm that this is exactly what Suhel and I were chatting after that, and he was singing Amar Shonar Bangla.
Oh, please.
Oh God, please.
Really, really. But Pallavi, what about national ambitions? Do you feel that of course, there is a space. There's no denying that. But do you think that they have the gumption to kind of go out there and say that we're going to put this together and make this a national party?
I think they're more seized by anger at this point of time because, if you look at Ghulam Nabi Azad and the sound bites which came out of his house today, I mean, there's Salman Nizami who's very close to him and he said, we are going to respond by victory. I mean, I agree, Abhijit is right. I mean, even Captain Amrinder Singh, he split from the party. Where is he now? It just didn't work. It's unlikely to work, and Azad is not silly, he's very shrewd. He understands it may not work. But you're angry, he's upset, and he just wants to prove a point.
Hey,
I think what matters to him more. Exactly.
and
And I think
also,
for
I
him, what
think
matters
where-
more.
Advaita,
Pallavi,
understand what
quick
does he have to
question.
do. 1 minute. If Ghulam Nabi Azad had not written that letter, he would have gone into a very poorly crafted sunset because no one would remember him. I mean, I doubt if even his security guards, no pun intended, based on what he said about people, would remember him. The fact is, this is an attempt to stay relevant. Amrinder's case was different. He was humiliated by this brother-sister duo. And you don't humiliate someone like Amrinder Singh and get away with it. So he left. Also remember, Amrinder is 80. Yeah. What do these guys drink or eat that they think that they'll be relevant, alive and kicking till what, 150? Azad's tenure is over. This was his last straw. And he's clutching at that. So don't read too much. I'm telling you, all these guys, see, one thing Modi did very smartly. This is not Margdarshan. This is retirement homes. He has built beautiful old age homes for people who've done their bit. That's what the Congress should have done. But the Congress is busy making people scrap with each other. I mean, can you imagine overnight a guy who's been with you for 50 years is abused and the guy who's been with the party for 50 years abuses the party? That should tell you about their strength of character and their strength of
So
purpose.
that is actually true. That is actually true. Abhijit, Pallavi's taken off on this one, yeah, she's back. Pallavi, Azad is different from Captain Amrinder
I
Singh in
think
the
he's
sense
on
that
mute.
he has, he's an organization man. He's led the organization in all states in the country by his own admission in his letter. So that gives him a lot of experience as far as setting up an organization is concerned. Do you feel that that's going to help him if they do, or that's going to motivate him to kind of set up an organization that can really take on this mantle of, I don't know if they'll use the word secular, but the so-called secular pole in national politics, especially seeing what AAP is going through. And go ahead, Pallavi. Again, you're muted.
Sorry. Okay, so I don't think, I mean, as I say, I mean, Azad is extremely shrewd. I don't think he's living in this la la land where he thinks he can take on the Congress party or take on other political parties. As I said, I mean, the little time that I meet him and we meet many of those who are angry, it's a sense of anger, I mean, we may ask why angry and so on and so forth, but this is the emotion at this point of time. When you meet Anand Sharma, even he knows that he's not exactly a grassroots worker. He's not going to swing elections, so to say. But अगर 5 सीट में भी damage कर पाए, 10 votes को भी damage कर पाए, I think more than that, at this point of time, they really want to embarrass the party. They want to make it so difficult. And Rahul Gandhi के बारे में ये सब बोलना. See, for example, when I was out yesterday and I was just randomly talking to some people who are not even journalists, who don't even watch political shows, or they are not politicians much, but they have a sense of politics. They seem to be understanding more what Azad was saying than the defense coming in from the Congress party. They say, हाँ हमको भी ऐसा लगता है जो आजाद बोल रहे हैं यार राहुल गांधी ऐसा है, why does he want to become the president? The defense of the Congress party that इसको इतना कुछ मिला, this is something which did not even register on them much. So I think that is what serves the purpose of an Azad or an Anand Sharma or a Kapil Sibal or even a Manish Tiwari. The embarrassment, the fact that the entire party has to fall over each other backwards to defend the Gandhis, I think that's going to be something which you're going to be talking about. And mind you, they're all very carefully going to look at the election results. एक तो भारत जोड़ो यात्रा है, उसके बाद what happens? The elections in Gujarat and Himachal. The Bharat Jodo Yatra is going to be bang in the middle of the Gujarat and Himachal elections, where I'm told Rahul Gandhi is going to take a detour, go on campaign here, and then join the rest of the Yatra. Now he'll have to see, and they're going to be watching to see whether that so-called Belchi movement of Indira Gandhi hitting the streets, going on the road, that worked for her, whether it's going to work for the Congress and Rahul Gandhi. Chances are it won't. And then these more knives will be out. Abhi to aap dekho na, next 2 years is going to
Nothing will happen.
so... Nothing can happen, but next 2 years is going to be so rocky for the Congress. No, I think it's going to be rocky for the Congress. There's going to be a lot of cover for people like us who cover the Congress party. So it's going to be great fun for us. So I'm not complaining.
Let me tell you one minute. One last thing. Rahul Gandhi needs to be sat down and asked only one question. Are you running a political party or are you running an NGO? If you're running an NGO, it's a non-governmental organization. A political party's aspirations are to be in government. The tragedy is that Rahul Gandhi considers himself to be an activist and an NGO head. He doesn't have the craftsmanship, the chutzpah, the whatever to actually run a political party and inspire people. Leaders are about inspiration. Dynasts are about control. That's the essential difference. A dynast will always exercise control because of his ownership, not because of his leadership. The difference between Modi and Gandhi is Modi doesn't own the BJP. The Gandhis own the Congress. Get this realization in that cloudy mountain air that you are enjoying in Dehradun.
Oh, yeah, keep quiet. Okay. Finally,
She's in Dehradun? No, she's here.
She's in Dehradun, yeah.
My location cannot be disclosed, but
wherever she is, what does it matter to you?
I'm in UK. Oh my God!
But I mean, Suhel, you are worse.
She goes to
you tell us I've landed in Delhi.
Bavena's grocery shop to buy sasta groceries, and she's like, Harinder Singh, Harrods gayi thi main, Harrods. UK में मैं Harrods shopping गई थी.
I mean,
By the way,
Pallavi, since you're the only one taking this discussion seriously, you're basically saying
We
that
are also taking it seriously.
who have quit the party, these senior strategic leaders with decades of political experience, who have quit this party, have no plan of action. They're just sort of acting out in anger or vengeance. There isn't any strategy. There's nothing in place.
no, not entirely. By the way, Sandeep Ghosh, who's watching us very closely, thinks that there's an ED investigation which Ghulam Nabi Azad is also trying to kind of avoid. But anyway, I don't know about.
I don't know why he's not joining
Someone
us.
has asked me if I would be willing to go
He's
to the
constantly
Rajya Sabha.
sending me messages.
So why doesn't he join?
Someone asked me
I
if
don't know. He's also saying I belong to Ludhiana. This is Abhijit's Kannad because he's now pretending to be me. I mean, people are telling me that Abhijit can never ever be like you, even if he's born 7 times over. But anyway, see, I don't think it's fair to say they don't have a strategy. I think the letter, as I was talking about Abhijit, was drafted with, I was telling Advaita yesterday, it's very much drafted by a team of 4-5 people. The G23 members, they continue to meet informally. Kapil Sibal ke ghar pe also they meet, even though the fact is that he didn't want to issue a statement yesterday because I spoke to him. And so the letter, if you look at it, it makes a reference to Kapil Sibal. It's a point by point. It's very much well drafted, well thought out. बहुत दिनों से लिखा गया letter. I think they also decided that they are going to release it on a day when Mrs. Gandhi is away. And the second thing is that look at the time, just 5 minutes before an important press conference by the Congress party, which they could not even talk about because by that time everything was completely forgotten. So they had to do the press conference once again today, which Ajay Makan did. All this is a part of structured planning. Ab Anand Sharma wahan gaya hai, wahan pe he'll give a soundbite. I'm sure he's going to come back in the next few days after 7 to 8. I think they're going to wait till 4th or 5th when the Jammu rally takes place of Azad and the Halla Bol of Rahul Gandhi. I suspect either something is going to happen on 6th or we do something on the 7th when that Bharat Jodo Yatra begins. It'll be interesting to watch what happens. And, so I think it's very, very well planned. I don't think it's just off the cuff completely. But, of course, they're angry.
But just
So, Abhijit, you'll enjoy this because they're all out to sabotage the Congress
One
now.
second. You tell me who exactly is a mass leader in the Congress today. I'm going to read out the names of the Congress Working Committee from their website. Manmohan Singh, Rajya Sabha Prime Minister. Rahul Gandhi lost his own seat. Shri A. Antony, okay, one person who has won several elections, become Chief Minister. Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, Ajay Makan, Ambika Soni. Ajay Makan, Ambika Soni ever won an election on their own? No. Anand Sharma, where is his base? Does he have any ground support? No. Shri Avinash Pandey, I don't even know who this is. I've never heard of him. Shri Gaikhangam, no idea who this is. Shri Harish Rawat, I've only heard of him of late, never heard of him before.
But he's won election.
But to be fair to him, he's won election. To be fair to him, he hits the ground more than any of these other people do.
Lovely. So we now have two mass leaders, A.K. Antony and Harish Rawat. Third,
Jairam won an election. He's Rajya Sabha. A.K. Antony has always been Rajya Sabha.
A.K. Antony has always been Rajya Sabha, yeah.
Rajya Sabha, but he's won the chief ministership several times.
Handed to him.
And Jairam Ramesh, I know, does a lot of groundwork, but I don't know why he acts like a Rajya Sabha type. What would you classify him as? Pallavi, what would you classify Jairam Ramesh as?
I think he's very good. He's Rajya Sabha type because he's very good organizer, PPT and very good planning, strategy, those kind of backroom neta, I would call him. Not
He's
exactly
the
the ground walking.
We have iPad politicians.
Yeah, exactly.
iPad politicians.
Yeah.
Right. But, I have to tell you, when he did public consultations and things like that, when he was minister,
he was brilliant.
He was a great minister.
He was actually
no doubt about that.
to be this thing. But I would not classify him as a ground worker. Okay, so as of now, only two. You guys don't count.
He is as much of a politician as Pallavi Ghosh is a journalist. Let's put it that way.
Shocking.
No, in the
She-
sense,
Shocking,
both are
shocking,
right,
Abhijit.
but don't
She-
expect them to go to the
You know what?
grassroots.
You know what? Viewers are calling Suhel nowadays sushi
Sushi.
for his
Who?
elitist,
Who calls him
elitist
that?
brands. Yeah,
What is sushi?
sushi.
Okay, be serious. Jitendra Singh. Does anybody know Jitendra Singh?
Yeah,
No.
from Rajasthan.
Ex-MP.
Alwar
There's
say
a
he
lot
won
of
once.
ex-MPs in India. By the way. Lots
Very
of
close
ex.
to Rahul Gandhi.
Okay, very close to
He was
Rahul
in
Gandhi, but
charge
I've
of
never heard of
Assam.
him. Not a ground worker, Jitendra Singh.
No, but
Oh.
wait, he's an IPAC politician. as
But we
Sushil
only have
says.
2 ground leaders,
As
and that's
Sushi calls him.
Kumari Shelja,
Yeah, ground.
Yeah.
She's not
ground.
bad.
She's one in
Ground.
Haryana.
3 ground workers. KC Venugopal,
No.
Kerala. But
Yeah, no, but
But
not-
Rahul
yeah.
Gandhi is blue-eyed boy.
uh,
Rahul Gandhi is
KC
blue-eyed
Venugopal,
boy.
and not a ground worker at all, as far as I know. Mallikarjun Kharge,
Huh. Hey.
he's a ground worker. Okay, 4. Lal Tanhawala,
Yeah, he's
No.
from the
Lal
northeast.
Tanwala, yeah. Northeast, yeah.
I mean, what is Pallavi going to the Congress every day and is unable to comment? I have to jump in.
Sikh, Mukul Vasnik.
Yeah, Mukul Wasik, very close to Rahul Gandhi, an organizer back
Yeah,
from
they
Goa.
feel good, saying close to Rahul Gandhi, close to Priyanka, close to Sonia.
Close
I
me.
mean,
We're asking if they're ground workers. Can they
Mukul
win
Wasik,
election on their
Mukul
own?
Wasik is not.
Yeah, Mukul
Yeah,
Vasnik
Rajya
can't.
Sabha.
Can Kumari Shelja win on her own?
Yeah.
Yeah,
has.
Hisar se MP hai. She's been MP from
Okay.
Hisar.
So 3. Can Oomen Chandi win on his own?
Yes, very
Yes,
powerful.
yeah. Kerala,
In fact,
yeah.
he's one of the very good chief ministers of Kerala.
Yeah. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, do you think she can win an election on her own?
I'm sure she can if she fights well.
I think she
Depends
can
where
if
she
she does it
fights
well.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
where
Yeah,
she fights.
depends.
She might win from Sujan Singh Park.
5. Do you think Chidambaram can win an election? I can tell you he cannot.
No, but he's won.
But
Now
he's
his
won.
son
He's
is
won
from
from
the
Shivaganga.
same.
He only won when he had support. By himself, Mailadurai he cannot win. Not Mailadurai is Manishankar Iyer. Gangai, what is his constituency? I forget. Anyway, he can't win it by himself. I can tell you that for a fact.
Mallapuram tha.
Malapuram.
Nee. No, Mallapuram isn't in Tamil Nadu, yeah?
It's in Kerala.
Okay, something.
Sivagangai. There is no chance he can win Sivagangai by himself.
Shivaganga is Chidambaram's constituency. Yeah.
So he can't
But
win that by himself.
DMK support. Yeah, DMK support.
Only if DMK supports. Otherwise, no chance. Shri Randeep Singh Surjewala, can he win a seat by himself?
Abhi nahi. But he's been winning from Kethal for years.
Raghuveer Singh Meena,
Till they
can he win a
decide
seat
to-
by himself?
Meena won, I think, Rajasthan mein jeeta tha, if I'm not too mistaken.
But he's ex-MP. And Tariq Anwar, can he win a seat by himself?
Abhi to nahi.
No.
Nahi,
So
nahi.
you only have 5 people in this entire Congress committee who are even able to win a seat by himself, and all of you agree that none of these people are able to win a state. ऐसे पार्टी का क्या होगा? This is your Congress working committee.
But that's the point. He's absolutely
Yeah,
right. There
Exactly.
is no winnability left in the Congress rank and
There is
file.
none. You tell
And
me
how-
one
if you're
Congress
led by
leader
losers,
who
how will you win?
Yeah.
If you're
You
led
tell
by
me
people
one
who
Congress
can't win
leader
their
who
own
wins that.
election, what moral high ground do they have to then
No.
castigate people who lose elections? Tomorrow, if Rahul Gandhi holds up a district president to accountability and says, "Why the hell have you not won an election?" That guy can turn and say, "But you've lost the entire country.
Yeah.
Who are you telling? Why are you telling me?" So, what moral and ethical high ground do they have to stand on in order to force accountability?
And you know what the most shameless thing is? That Rahul feels he can comment on everything under the sun, even though he is not Congress president or any kind of post holder right now.
Yeah.
He is not management, technically. Why
And
does
also the post.
I'm backing everything.
And look at the promos of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. It only has Rahul Gandhi. I want to know why.
Who is
really want
Rahul
to know
Gandhi?
why.
Who is Rahul
They
Gandhi?
should have had all.
Malik hai,
they
boss.
should have
Malik
just-
hai. Malik hai. Malik hai. They don't need leaders. They have owners.
I agree with Sandeep Ghosh's comment, which is coming to me privately, that
Oh,
even Bharat
God,
Jodo
why
Yatra, I don't know, for some strange reason, I don't think he trusts with Abhijit anymore, and he's calling him
doesn't want to
Choo-choo, by the way.
actually
He's calling him insane. So
He's got
the
FOMO,
point
yeah.
is that
Sandeep Ghosh has got FOMO. When you're in Kurg alone, I mean, what more? Yeah, he must be dying to come here. You should have invited him, poor chap.
I've
He must be
invited him. He's here. He's here. He's just not turning on his camera and coming on.
how sick can he get? But anyway, the point is that Yogendra Yadav, see, if you remember, Rahul Gandhi held this meeting now with intellectuals and so in the social workers wala thing, so civil society in Constitution Club a few days back to get inputs for Bharat Jodo Yatra. Who were there? Yogendra Yadav, Sitaram Yechuri, all of them were sitting there. They are going to be joining his yatra. And now you see what's going to happen. The whole narrative will be, oh, okay, there he is.
Yeah, finally.
Why, Sandeep, why do you have to be so fussy?
Not being fussy.
No.
I
Instead
just
of
want
telling
to
you,
Sandeep, how
What is
old
the
are you?
complex?
What CDs up on the
I
wall?
mean, really, how old are you?
Okay, I have to tell you, it's 7:56. Oh, Kurge Raja Sten. Kurge Raja. Bolun. Malta খাচ্ছেন কিনা? এখন টাইমটা হয়ে গেছে?
হয়ে গেছে এখানে ইলিশ মাছ খাওয়া যাচ্ছে নাকি?
খাচ্ছেন? আর ওর সঙ্গে পিনাটস আছে, পিনাটস
মুখরোচক ডালমোট
আরে আপনি যদি আপনার কিছু হতো, আপনি উজ্জ্বলার স্ন্যাক্সটা খেতেন।
সেটা
উজ্জ্বলার চনাচুর এর কোনো মানে হয়?
এই গানটা কত সুন্দর, এত সুন্দর বাংলা শুনতে পারি আমি। আমার সোনার বাংলা, আমি তোমায় ভালোবাসি।
এখন মধু খাচ্ছেন, টিভিতে আসছেন, মানে হয়?
তোমার বাতাস।
Why did you put your hair back? Just let Sandeep see what you were looking like in the beginning of the show. When you're pretending to be me.
I saw. I was there, right?
I was pretending to be Pallavi Ghosh. Did you see that? Wait.
You look like a
But what is Pallavi?
But that looks like a
What
nun's
is
habit.
I'm so sorry.
What is Pallavi wearing today?
I'm driving
She's
around
in a black
covering
suit.
elections, and it's like, oh my god, terrible roads, terrible driver. साले ठीक से चला, कितनी बार मैंने तेरे से बोला है? मेरा इनर जाता है, मैं पल्लवी सिंह चौकस हूँ।
Oh God.
Good.
Yes, Sandeep, yeah, you were sending private messages to Pallavi. So
No, nothing. I told her that, this Bharat Jodo Andolan, there is no Congress man of stature. All the hero or the visible people will be people like Yogendra Yadav. They will steal the limelight because Rahul Gandhi is in any case not going to be in for the whole run. He'll keep disappearing and there's nobody. So it's people like,
writing a soundtrack. He's writing a
That's so
soundtrack.
mean to him.
Presence. But
Look what Abhijit has got.
Hi, today's International Dog Day. Give him a kiss from my side. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. But tell me one thing, Pallavi and
You're not exactly the lighthouse of knowledge on many subjects. So
listen,
if you didn't
I
know
want
that,
to
we
know.
don't expect you to either.
Thank you. I want to know. It wasn't always the case, right? That there were no mass leaders. I mean, Himanta Biswa Sarma leaves the Congress. He's able to, establish himself. He has a good support base. Jyotiraditya Scindia, for heaven's sake, brought down the government in MP.
No, and he won his elections in Guna.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, there have been mass leaders, but they've been kind of stifled. Is that a fair assessment?
what
No,
we
but
were
there was a
discussing
time
yesterday
where,
also.
Yeah.
No, we were discussing yesterday, as soon as you show some promise, we were talking about how these youngsters have been, a sideline.
Yeah.
So they were once, somewhere Rahul Gandhi's cronies or groupies. But as soon as they started kind of challenging, they got sidelined. So that's why you had your Jitin Prasad, RPN saying...
Mother's love, boss, mother's love. मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਲ ਕਹਾਂ, ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਹਿ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਨਿਕਲਾਂਗਾ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਟਜੀ ਕਰ ਲਓ, ਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਦੋਂ ਰਿਪਲੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਔਰ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਘੁਸੇੜੂ ਹੈਗਾ। I mean, Advaita, you know this better than anyone else does. You've seen the world.
I have
She
seen the world.
claims. You don't know if
I
she's
have.
actually got a passport.
So that's
Please
the
like.
situation.
The end is near.
I never
Monday I
get
say
never get anybody willing to sponsor
my
this program
final
because you all are
curtain.
so badly behaved. Please like, share, and subscribe because no legitimate company will ever support us. So
And
you
now
owe it to us.
the
Only
end is
crowdfunding.
near. And may I
Only
say,
crowdfunding will
Hey,
work.
Pallavi,
Nothing else will
बेटा
work.
वापस आओ,
But-
Pallavi वापस आओ.
She's back. She's back.
But that's the smartest one to do, Pallavi, Advaita, that don't have any visible sponsors, like so-called your independent channels or independent portals don't have, but they have a lot of invisible sponsors which nobody comes to know of.
hey,
So,
I am too open to be able to do that. I'll just say it.
Gold flake walas or classic walas to sponsor quietly.
Jai Hind,
for pictures.
Nonsense, please.
Jai
Bye.
Maharashtra, Jai Goa,
Nice
Jai
one.
Bengal, Jai Sab.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good to see
Joy Bongo.
you.
Thank God now. I don't have to put out loud advisory smoking.
Why does Pallavi keep going away, yeah?
Pallavi thought the show is over, I think. So she's taking off. But
Anyway.
we shall actually be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. with the Sunday Club. And do send us your messages in terms of what you want us to discuss. We've talked about the Congress quite a bit. I'm not sure that we want to talk about it anyone else anymore. No, I don't smoke cigars. Thank you so much for asking me to pick up your cigar. I know I'm a boss
Hey,
lady.
what the hell? You told me to get you back Kohibas and Martha ka
I-
number 5.
I
ये
don't
क्या
smoke
बोल रही है? किसके लिए ले गई वो cigar?
Nonsense. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining us, and I'm going to see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Of course, Sandeep has confirmed that he'll be there tomorrow. What about you, AIM? Are you going to be there tomorrow as yourself?
Yes.
Oh, you'll be there tomorrow. Luckily for us, AIM has sprained his ankle, so he's not that much out and about, and he'll be home, so we can capture him
What
for
are
a
we
bit.
discussing tomorrow, Advaita?
And tell people tomorrow you will have the intellectuals. Discussion would be much better than what it was today. When people
Today,
were
today was
simply,
terrible. Yeah, today was terrible. I can understand why you didn't want to join. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know what
was
we're going
kind
to
of.
discuss. I mean, I think we'll decide, but I think we're done with the Congress for now, unless something else happens.
Unless something, yeah.
Unless someone
You
else
went
quits,
back to
you,
can't help it.
you can't
If
rule
something
It's
else
that
like
quits,
out.
roasting the turkey again.
yeah.
Right.
But anyway, so thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and do. Thank you so much. I hear that a lot of our videos are going viral as well, so that's great. That people are kind of resonating with what we're trying to do here. So we look forward to chatting with you all again. You're right, Youth's Voice. It looks like a kiddie party. I know today has been bad, but we take that feedback. and we go forward with that.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Like,
Stay
share,
safe, everyone.
subscribe, and definitely comment. Feel free to abuse me because every comment adds to the revenue that she earns. So
And well,
Yeah.
not the revenue, but if you upvote, then like more people get to watch it, is what I've heard. I'm still figuring out YouTube, but I've heard that if it gets more votes, then it shows up in suggestions and things. So that would be nice.
good suggestion. Discuss freebies.
Thank you. Bye.
Ta-ta.
Okay. Up raids, freebies, no smoking. We'll figure it out. See you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you so much.